Sunita Narayan has been studying the impact of the contamination caused by the Bhopal gas leak. Ms. Narayan, for the benefit of our viewers and given how short public memory is in this country, can you explain how badly contaminated areas around the factory in Bhopal are and how people continue to suffer till date?
You know, Rahul, 25 years later, I also thought that there would be no contamination on the site. But when my colleagues went there, we collected samples. We did a joint survey with the Central Pollution Control Board. We jointly collected samples of sludge lying in and around the factory. And remember, 25 years later, when we analyzed the sludge, we found very high levels of pesticide, heavy metal, everything from mercury to carbaryl was in the sludge lying in the factory. We also tested the groundwater 3 kilometers down from the factory. We found the same pesticides we found in the factory in the groundwater. The big issue that I believe we need to discuss today with this horrific, terrible judgment is the fact that today, when we are talking about the nuclear liability bill, we are talking about issues of major devastation. How is India going to cope, given the track record, the miserable track record we've had in bringing officials of Union Carbide to book? Let's be very, very clear about this. This is about liability. When we did our study, Dow Chemicals now says it has no responsibility for the mess that has been left behind by Union Carbide. Now, who is liable? Who is responsible for it? This is the question, and today's judgment shows that frankly the government of India cannot stand up to the might of big corporations. What will it do tomorrow?
You're saying the government of India cannot stand up to the might of corporations. I want to bring in at this time T.R. Chauhan. He's a former plant manager at Union Carbide. At the time this tragedy happened, he was working in Bhopal. Mr. Chauhan, it is being said that Warren Anderson and the senior management at Union Carbide knew exactly how dangerous the chemicals being used in Bhopal were. They had advance information about that. You worked in that factory, sir. Tell our viewers, who, as someone who worked in the factory at the time of this tragedy, who do you think, sir, is responsible for these 20,000 deaths? Mr. Chauhan, can you hear me? Okay, I'm going to go back to Mr. Chauhan in just a while. But the question is, why is it that India feels so scared about corporates running away from business? Sunita Narayan, how strong do you think this fear that the government has really is? The fear that corporates would run away, the fear that investment will not come, because this also is in India from the 1980s when foreign investment was very nascent, the idea was very new, and therefore the government of the day had this fear that if an accident were to happen, there will be no future foreign investment in this country.
No, I don't think, Rahul, it's about that time. In fact, I think the fear is even more today, and I think the fact is that corporations have taken over the business of regulation in almost every country. You are seeing the disaster that is taking place in the Gulf of Mexico, where President Obama is basically sitting back and saying, oh God, you know, there was a very cozy relationship between the oil companies and my regulators. They changed the law so that it suited them. Today, President Obama is saying, I won't let the oil companies cheat my people. I think that's what is the big issue here. Can we let Union Carbide cheat the Indians, the people of Bhopal? Can we let Dow Chemicals get away without the responsibility that it has inherited? It has inherited both the assets and the liability of Union Carbide. And that's the issue today. India has to show that it means business, and the business is for its people and poor people.
Okay, you're saying India needs to show it means business.